Welcome to all you fans of classic film and television. I'm Noel Cronin and I've been busy selecting my favourite upcoming films and shows from the Talking Pictures TV schedule. I'd love to share that selection with you. It features huge stars, classic films and some real rarities that I think you'll enjoy. So let's get started. The story of The Four Feathers has been filmed several times, but the 1939 Technicolor version is considered by fans and critics alike to be the very best. This is an epic adventure tale in which a man redeems himself from accusations of cowardice. The stars are John Clements, Ralph Richardson and June Dupree. The Four Feathers was one of the most popular films in Britain in 1939. I'm very pleased to be showing it on Talking Pictures TV, so you can see why it proved such a hit.
10 years ago, when Harry was a boy, I raised my glass in his honor with the toast, "May he prove the bravest of all the Favershams." Harry Faversham, coupled with the name of my daughter, Esther.
A very different kind of British film now, Hidden Homicide from 1959. Griffith Jones stars as a man who wakes up in a strange house with a gun in his hand and a corpse lying nearby. Things don't look good for him in this well-made crime thriller, which will keep you guessing until the end. See if you can guess who done it before the big reveal. Comedy now, with not one but two films from the wonderful Doctor series. 7 were made in all, and Doctor at Sea is the second film, made in 1955. It sees Dirk Bogarde reprise his role as Dr. Simon Sparrow, who takes a job as a ship's doctor. Whilst on board, he overcomes seasickness and falls for a beautiful French passenger, played by the one and only Brigitte Bardot. James Robinson Justice lends his usual gruff presence as the ship's captain, himself the unlikely object of another passenger's affections. James returns to familiar territory as Sir Lancelot Spratt in the 1966 Doctor in Clover. Leslie Phillips is Dr. Gaston Grimsdyke, who schemes to get himself a prestigious job at St. Swithin's, but Sir Lancelot has a scheme of his own in mind. There's a terrific scene involving the hospital dance, Joan Sims and a lot of laughing gas. So brace yourself for lots of medical laughs. It'll keep you in stitches.
Good morning, Doctor.
Hello.
Hello.
Could we, by a superhuman effort of will, concentrate on the patients, Doctor?
Of course, Sir Lancelot.
We return to drama now in the company of one of the queens of Hollywood, Joan Crawford. A wealthy woman finds purpose in life by taking in a teenager who is blind, deaf and mute. But soon this vulnerable young woman is being exploited for financial gain. British actress Heather Sears won a BAFTA for her raw performance in the title role.
Then it's utterly hopeless.
No, not entirely hopeless. She can be taught to adapt herself. There are special schools for the blind deaf where she can be taught to communicate.
But not to see, hear, or speak.
A great deal can be done. Nature is not unmerciful.
Joan Crawford's first husband, actor Douglas Fairbanks Jr., also makes an appearance on Talking Pictures TV this week as the host of an episode of his own show. In this episode, he introduces the story of a Canadian Mountie whose desperation to get his man could lead him to make a morally indefensible decision. Robert Beatty and Patrick Holt star, and look out for a very young Christopher Lee.
Okay, big guy. I suppose you start shooting your dumb rookie here. Because if you don't, I will.
I'm very pleased to hear how many viewers are loving the series The Cheaters. They include Alan Pardon, who wrote in recently. Thoroughly enjoying The Cheaters. Episode Obituary for a Champion featured Howard Marion Crawford, Kenneth J. Warren and Roddy McMillan, all recognisable faces. I was saddened to learn they all died relatively young. Fearing the worst, I looked up Vincent Ball, who had a very small role, only to learn that he is alive and well, aged 101, living in his native Australia. Cheered me up no end. I raised a glass of wine to him, and of course, as always, to TPTV. Kind regards, Alan Pardon. I'm glad, Alan, you're enjoying The Cheaters, as many are. A typical Danziger's production, quite sparse in production, but great value on the screen for what the budgets were. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. The Odessa File was one of the biggest thrillers of the 1970s. Made in 1974, it was adapted from a novel by Frederick Forsyth. Jon Voight stars as a journalist determined to hunt down a Nazi war criminal, eventually becoming an undercover spy. His co-stars include Maximilian Schell and Maria Schell. This was the only time this brother and sister appeared in the same film. The Odessa File is now rightly also considered a classic.
ODESSA, the Organization of Former Members of the SS. It was formed at the end of the war to help SS men to disappear.
For my final choice today, we return to comedy. Short film It's the Only Way to Go from 1970 is a delightful farce which features lots of faces familiar to anyone who was watching TV comedy at the time. What would you do if you found yourself at the wrong funeral? If it's laughs you want, It's the Only Way to Go has plenty to go round. A broad selection of entertainment to be sure, with something for everyone. No need to fight over the remote, just keeping that telly tuned to Talking Pictures TV, especially since we are on your screens 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't forget our free weekly email newsletter, which contains the full schedule. If you haven't already signed up, do that now and receive it every Sunday. If you'd like to write to me, you can get in touch via email at noel@talkingpicturestv.co.uk. If you prefer to put pen to paper, the address to write to is Talking Pictures TV, P.O. Box 592, Kings Langley, Hertfordshire, WD4 4DB. Keep supporting classic film and television, and I'll be back with you soon with more great choices from the Talking Pictures TV schedule.